And I sort of put some notes down here. I mean, in terms of sticking with the Malaysian sort of theme, and I guess Indian, you have the rotis and the naans and things. So that would be the same thing as rice, isn't it? You can sort of blend that with alternative, like lentils or brown rice or brown flour in that sense. Would that be something that's...
That's a great question as well, because if you think of it like if you have a curry, now if you've got potato in that curry, as part of the body of the curry, then you've already got a carbohydrate. Then if you have that with rice, you've got another carbohydrate. And then you have it with roti or naan, then you've got more carbohydrates. So the idea there is to take the potato out of your vegetable curry, use more sweet potato, broccoli, onions, that sort of thing. So all your vegetables are low GI. Mushrooms are very low. The mushroom family is one of the lowest. Then just have the curry and naan, or curry and rice, not curry with naan and rice, because naan and roti can be up to 75, 78 GI. But a whole wheat roti down to 62. And if it's made with chickpea flour, because chickpeas is in the same family as lentil, that can drop it even further, because chickpeas are a more complex carbohydrate. So your white flour is your highest. And the thing is that if blood sugars are coming in really skyrocketing into your blood, your body's got to produce insulin to cut off that blood sugar from going any higher. Because this is where diabetics sort of lack that insulin metabolism. So if insulin isn't blocking the sugars, if it keeps on going, we're in trouble. The blood can go thick and we can actually go into a coma. So that's what insulin's for. So always having high GI food, the body's always got to produce insulin from the pancreas. And that puts the stress, a burden on the pancreas as an organ to control sugars all the time. And then you think if you have cereal in the morning, high GI, insulin release. You might have a muffin for morning tea, insulin release. A roll for lunch, insulin release. People can have insulin and high GI foods 4, 5, 6 times a day. That might be all right if it was one day, but over many days and many years, there's a metabolic disease, weight gain, diabetes is just around the corner.
I mean, it's interesting, diabetes. I just had a quick look at some figures. I remember someone mentioning it to me. Like in China, there's like 10% of the population now have diabetes, and I think like 37 or some high figure are pre-diabetes.
Yep. So
if you take that in percentage of the population, you're talking about like 300 million people with this kind of issues.
Huge.
I mean, from a market point of view, from a corporate point of view, I think it probably opens up quite a big space for these guys to play in, to bring in this low GI food. I mean, let's face it, you know, when you talk to an Asian bloke, he's going to eat rice, carbohydrates.
Yes.
Talk to an Italian or European, they're going to eat pasta and all these kind of stuff. Yeah. So you sort of very hard to get them out of that. They're not going to stop eating pasta, you know, or rice, for example. So I think in some ways I see that this is opening up quite a big opportunity for these guys. I mean, that's why you're seeing our Sunrise, I mean, coming in with low GI rice, and CSR's got the low GI sugar.
Yep.
Holista's got their pastas and their noodles, and they've got the low GI sugar too, I think.
Yep.
So it's interesting. In your sort of journey in what you do you see this as you see it more now than before? Do you see that?
Yeah, well, so these low GI products and companies are very avant-garde, and they're actually forward-thinking and forward-moving, because like diabetes, you see 10% of the Chinese population is still massive numbers. Being the 30 million or something like that. Plus, that's just, and pre-diabetes is common. Actually, a lot of people got pre-diabetes without knowing it. And as a therapist, I can interview someone and see just from their symptoms alone, their nails, their tongue and their eyes, whether they've got pre-diabetes. It's very, very common. I mean, diabetes is almost in plague proportions. But if you look at traditional Japanese and Chinese diet, rice was their only carb. Now with the infiltration of Western diet, and also these sauces, you know, you got your oyster sauce, would have been just stewed oysters and some soy sauce, etc. Now it's got all the sugars, and you got sweet sauces and all that. And plus the Western diet coming in with your big companies, McDonald's and all that coming in. Now rice isn't their only carbohydrate, and now they're starting to eat pastas and junk food, etc. That's where the diabetes is really, and pre-diabetes, which is more of a plague, people just don't know, is really spiking in those countries that always had low diabetes and low pre-diabetes, and the health risks associated with diabetes and pre-diabetes is massive, because they're pretty well metabolic syndromes. And once you've got a metabolic syndromes, the knock-on effects to your health and your aging is hard to quantify. There's so many different diseases and illnesses, blood pressures, cholesterol problems, sleep problems, energy problems, fatigue, depression. The knock-on effects, phenomenal. So, and if you look at the traditional Mediterranean diet, really your pizza base or your pasta was really one of the, in the very traditional ancient Greek diet, it wasn't very carbohydrate loaded. The Western diet, unfortunately, has got pasta, potato, rice, fruit juices, fruits, sugars, sweets. You got all your carbohydrate family is sugars, starch and alcohol. That's your whole carbohydrate family, plus fibre. So the fibre in the lemons, for instance, is actually classed as a carbohydrate family. But you've got sugar, starch, alcohol. Now if you just take alcohol out, for instance, sugar and starch, the sugar and starch representation in our diet is way too overrepresented.
Okay.
But if rice was back in traditional Japanese and Chinese diet, if rice was your only carbohydrate, plus I was working with a Japanese chef only a few weeks ago, and he's showing me the portions of rice he has with his vegetables, and it was only like a cooked rice, that is, not even uncooked. It was only just this much. You're showing. So that portion's also, portion control is also important.